Okay, let's dive right into this. If you have ever been stuck in completely gridlocked city traffic, you've probably daydreamed of just zipping through it all, leaving the cars behind. Well, today in this explainer, we are looking at the ultimate David versus Goliath battle of daily city commuting. We're talking about the modest, budget-friendly scooter going head-to-head against the high-octane superbike. We're going to break down the hard data, the economics, and the physical realities to see which machine truly reigns supreme for your daily ride. To really set the stage here, I want to share a quote drawn directly from our sources. It goes, "You aren't going to wear a pair of soccer cleats to the office, are you? Or drive an F1 car to the grocery store." I mean, it perfectly captures the core absurdity we're investigating today, right? Using a highly specialized racing machine for daily errands defies basic logic. And yet, so many riders are tempted to do exactly that, totally blinded by the allure of pure horsepower. So let's get into it. Round one. The urban commuting myth. We are taking on the most persistent myth in the motorcycling world. You know the one, the idea that a massive, high-horsepower sports motorcycle is the absolute apex vehicle for slicing through city traffic. To make this concrete, let's contrast two vastly different machines. On the one side, we have a simple, utilitarian Kymco-like 150i ABS scooter. It's going to run you around $2,600 brand new. On the other side, picture a 1,000cc liter bike. We're talking a machine pushing 200 horsepower, capable of hitting 100 miles per hour in first gear alone, and often retailing well north of 20 grand. Now, common sense says the rocket ship obliterates the scooter on a commute, right? Let's see. Round two, traffic flattens all speeds. Let's pivot from basic assumptions to some hard science. To really understand real-world commuting dynamics, the French Environment and Energy Management Agency, ADME, conducted this incredibly rigorous study. They actually strapped telemetry to different types of vehicles and had skilled riders tackle a 31-kilometer route straight through Paris and its suburbs during peak morning rush hour. The goal was simple: hit an 8:30 a.m. arrival time, filtering through heavy traffic exactly as commuters do every single day. And you guys, the final times they recorded are staggering. On that 31-kilometer congested commute, a 600cc motorcycle completed the journey in 43 minutes. A 125cc scooter completed that exact same journey in 44 minutes. Yeah, you heard that right. The data showed that the larger bike only found a slight advantage on very short highway sectors, but once they hit the actual urban grid, average speeds plummeted to the exact same baseline for both vehicles. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is this: your massive power advantage, your highly specialized engineering, and your totally premium price tag effectively bought you exactly 60 seconds of time over a 31-kilometer commute. In an urban environment, top speed is just an illusion. Stop-and-go traffic completely neutralizes the core advantage of a superbike. Which honestly begs a rather uncomfortable question. What exactly is the financial cost of that one single minute you just saved? That brings us to round three, the true cost of power. Buying a thoroughbred sport bike is honestly just the down payment. Operating one daily introduces a level of financial bleeding that catches so many riders completely off guard. Take this staggering number, for example, £7,000. Our sources highlight this completely wild reality currently happening in the UK insurance market. Get this: a 37-year-old rider with a fresh license and a locked garage in London tried to insure a standard Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX. The bike itself is worth around £8,000. The annual insurance quote? £7,000. As one underwriter put it, that's not a real quote. That is an insurance company saying we absolutely do not want to insure you. Between staggering theft rates in cities and the very high likelihood of a new rider crashing a 140 horsepower machine, urban insurance for superbikes is astronomically expensive. But the pain for your wallet definitely doesn't stop there. Let's look at the compounding costs. You've got tires, maintenance, and fuel. If you're daily driving a sports machine, you are chewing through hypersport tires. Think Dunlop Q5s that are designed for sticky grip, not longevity. You'll be lucky to get 3,000 to 4,000 miles out of a rear tire. Compare that to 12,000 miles on a standard touring tire. Then there is the maintenance. Sport bike engines run at high compression ratios and sky-high redlines, demanding frequent, complex, and incredibly expensive dealer maintenance, especially when everything is wrapped in tight aerodynamic fairings. And finally, fuel. Superbikes are thirsty, and they have incredibly small tanks to save weight. With an average 150-mile range, a daily commuter is going to be sitting at a gas pump almost every single day. Meanwhile, a 125cc scooter literally sips fuel at around 3.5 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, maybe you have incredibly deep pockets. Maybe you honestly don't care about the insurance premiums, chewing through tires, or the daily gas station visits. But what if the bike itself is actively fighting against your physical body? Let's look at round 4, comfort, heat, and cargo. Let's think about the actual physical experience of piloting a literal race machine to, pick up your dry cleaning. Sport bike ergonomics are hyper-specialized. The clip-on handlebars are low and pushed way forward. The foot pegs are high and set rearward. The seat height is elevated. Why? Because this puts a professional racer in an aggressive aerodynamic tuck to control the bike at 150 miles per hour on a butter-smooth track. It's a highly athletic posture. But for a slow city commute, this translates instantly to severe strain on your wrists, your knees, and your lower back. You are essentially holding a push-up position while just waiting for a traffic light to turn green. And speaking of traffic lights, let's look at how the engine actually delivers its power. High-revving 600cc sport bikes like the legendary Yamaha R6 are designed with a short stroke to absolutely scream at high RPMs. That R6 needs to spin all the way up to 10,500 RPM just to deliver its maximum torque of 45 foot-pounds. This leaves the bike incredibly disadvantaged at low speeds. When the light turns green, you want immediate low-end thrust. A simple twist-and-go CVT scooter delivers its power instantly, exactly where you need it in the city. It is such a massive relief not having to frantically slip a heavy clutch just to keep from stalling in stop-and-go traffic. Then there is the heat. Riding a superbike in summer traffic is literally like hugging a radiator. These bikes generate immense power, which means they generate immense heat. It's just basic thermodynamics. Because they are designed to be aerodynamic, the frames and fairings trap that heat right next to your legs. If you are stuck in stop-and-go traffic on a Ducati V4R in July while wearing your full riding gear, you are going to arrive at the office completely and miserably drenched in sweat. And finally, where exactly are you putting your laptop? A sport bike offers zero storage. Your only real option is a tight backpack, adding even more weight to your already strained back. Or maybe you try strapping a net over a tiny passenger pillion. A scooter, by contrast, is built for pure everyday utility. You can just flip the seat up and swallow 2 full bags of groceries, a laptop bag, or a spare helmet without a second thought. It's just easy. Which leads us to round 5, crowning the commuter king. I think the verdict here is absolutely clear. The scooter wins this battle in a landslide. It's vastly cheaper to buy, insure, and maintain. The scientific data from the ADEME study proves it is practically just as fast as a 600cc motorcycle through heavy city traffic. And thanks to its upright seating, under-seat storage, and twist-and-go transmission, it's a practically painless, sweat-free way to navigate your day. Look, we all love the look, the sound, and the thrill of a high-performance motorcycle. But as we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. When it comes to your daily grinding commute, is your ego really worth the massive financial cost, the physical pain, and the complete lack of practicality? Think carefully before you take that F1 card to the grocery store.